Good morning. How you guys doing today?
It's a Sunday morning. It's a
It's,
Sunday morning. No school tomorrow, Brandon.
I know.
I'm
Pumped
enjoying
about that.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm super excited about that. So other than having nothing to do tomorrow except for wrestling practice, nothing to do today except watch football because who's going outside in negative degree weather? Thank you very much, Canada. You really did need to do that. I
Yeah,
guess
no
this is
kidding.
penance for never allowing you to win a Stanley Cup, but yeah, it's cold, so I'm excited to just sit at home, watch football. They were replaying the national championship. I have a couple college wrestling duels. It's just a fun weekend to stay inside. What better
Yeah.
weekend than Super Wildcard weekend?
Yeah, 100% agree. Jordan, how you doing?
Doing good. Not quite as cold as you guys, but still in the single digits over here with the wind chill. So just a good day to stay in, not do much. My daughter's got a little basketball later, a game to be
Nice.
played, but not too much to do. She's off school. I got to work. That's life, but we'll enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah, so no, welcome to for those who are tuned in with us right now. Welcome to the Sunday Morning Tailgate right here on Variety Sports Network. We're super excited to be here as well. We got tons of stuff we're going to talk about, including yesterday's embarrassing. I almost want to say embarrassing loss for the Cleveland Browns. That was a rough one to we saw good old Jets Joe Flacco in the second half of yesterday's game. What's your first thoughts on that game with the Texans and the Browns, Jordan?
My first thought is honestly the Cleveland defense was non-existent. I know their starting safeties were out, but I really expected more from the defensive line. Defense that ranked in the top 10 all year, top 5 in sacks. Just it didn't show up on tape.
Yeah.
So I really thought they would take the advantage of C.J. Stroud being a rookie to the pros. The lights are never too bright for him because where he played from. But,
Apparently not.
just I just expected more pressure, more pass rush, and less deep plays. Their
Yeah.
corner didn't show up. Denzel Ward didn't show up on film. Uh, all CJ Stroud's plays in the beginning were 20, 30, 40, and even a 60-yarder. Just stuff you really didn't expect coming out of a rookie and out of a defense that was solid all year. Joe Flacco, not shocked, but I mean, he had 8 interceptions in 6 games, so we knew the turnovers were going to happen, but they were just pick sixes or a nail in the coffin. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of my biggest takeaways. Besides CJ Stroud's unbelievable play, I believe he was only like 1 to 2 points in a quarterback rating for being perfect. So yeah, it's a lot packed into a short amount of time there.
Yeah. Jimmy, what's your thoughts on the Cleveland Houston game yesterday?
There were signs that we should have noticed. I think everybody was kind of blinded by that beatdown of New York in prime time on Thursday night, right before Christmas, and we kind of forgot about all the holes that they have. And I think it's something that fans have to relearn every year in the playoffs is that when you have holes in your game, those holes don't just get fixed; they actually magnify. So if you're having turnover issues, like I think we can look at both games yesterday and say the team that was able to play in the best scenario won. Cleveland's defense hasn't really been that great on the road. They average giving up about 30 points more a game on the road than they do at home. So the fact that they didn't win their division, they had to go to Houston. D'Amico Ryans had that team ready to go, and I think a lot of credit has to be given to C.J. Stroud. I said on our show I picked the Browns because rookie quarterbacks don't win playoff games, and now it's 2 in the last 2 years, and I think I'm just gonna to shut my mouth about talking about these quarterbacks, these rookie quarterbacks playing in the playoffs, because maybe if Anthony Richardson was there, the Colts would have made the playoffs and added another link to this argument. I just think that Houston had a lot to prove, and Cleveland looked tired. Cleveland looked like a team that's been fighting for their playoff life. I know Houston has too, but Houston's had, I think, injuries in more strategic spots. Cleveland was out of rhythm, out of sync. Resting their guys really hurt them last week. So add it to the debate, rest versus rust, what's better? But it was there were signs. So last night shouldn't have been as surprising as it was. I think it's surprising because it's a rookie quarterback, first year head coach, and Cleveland had done things in the end of the regular season to kind of put rose tinted. They did the Jedi mind trick. This is not the bad team you were looking for.
Yeah, it is. It was quite the interesting. I would say second half. The first half was just a back and forth. We're scoring, you're scoring, we're scoring, you're scoring type of deal. It was actually fun to watch until the two pick sixes kind of blew things up, blew things out of the water for the Cleveland Browns. Looking at the Houston Texans, are the Houston Texans a legit threat in the AFC to come out of the AFC?
Again, I'm going to sit here and say that rookie quarterbacks don't often win playoff games. I guess I can't say they never win playoff games. They don't often win playoff games. So CJ Stroud, what he did yesterday we should remember is an anomaly. Can we expect the same thing 2 weeks in a row? Or I'm going to look up, I have to look up the bracket to see. I think they're probably locked into playing Baltimore. Is Baltimore going to allow them to do the same things that Cleveland let them get away with yesterday? What holes does Houston have? I need to watch more tape and more breakdowns on Houston football, like Houston's record through the season, and see what's going to be their Achilles heel. Because if it's something the Ravens can exploit, I think Baltimore has the same chip on their shoulder that Houston showed yesterday.
Yeah, Jordan, what do you think?
Moving forward, I think no matter how games pan out today, I'm pretty sure they're locked to play Baltimore next week. But Houston moving forward, I mean, they're the winners in the turnover column. CJ Stroud only produced 5 turnovers throughout the year by himself. Team only turned the ball over 9 times as a unit. So that's when you're not playing from behind and you can control a run game, which they have a pretty solid run game. And Singletary's kind of come out of nowhere this year with a pretty dominant performance. I think 1,400 yards all-purpose combined. Something to kind of watch. I know they lost Tank, which was CJ Stroud's kind of number one, but yesterday it showed that he can throw the rock around kind of everybody. But moving, they don't have a lot of holes other than they're used to playing behind. I don't think they can play behind when it comes to the Ravens because they have 5 fourth quarter comebacks this year. Houston as a team, and I don't think that's something you can do. You can't get behind the chains. You can't get behind the score when it comes to Baltimore because just that running threat. So that and that newfound passing threat on the outside. I know Mark Andrews active. I, to me personally, think that's kind of a decoy. I think you'll see him in limited snaps. I think you'll see packages for him, but the team has honestly played better for yards per game without him in the lineup, and that's using outside weapons they both drafted and went into free agency and spent a pretty penny on. You're seeing OBJ and company kind of really do things that we haven't seen a Ravens team do probably forever because it's always been run to rock.
Right.
Pass to the tight end when you need to and let the dominant defense kind of carry you behind. So seeing Baltimore go out and score 28, 30 plus points the last couple of weeks is it's been fun to see, but it's been really scary because that's always been a part of the game that we've always questioned Lamar. Can Lamar pass? If you force Lamar to pass, can he win games? In the last couple of weeks, he's doing it, Jimmy. I know.
He's doing it. I know. I don't like it either.
It's a scary thing to see moving forward. And the fact that the front office, listened to him, he said this year that he wanted weapons on the outside. We always know they had a run game. We've always known he can run the rock when he needs to. But Baltimore wins it and kind of crushes the Cinderella story that is Houston. But I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be competitive. Houston doesn't turn the ball over, and if they don't play from behind, they could possibly go into Baltimore and shock the world. But Baltimore's got a pretty big sting right now, and they do have the chip on their shoulder, especially from last year's fumble and Lamar not in the game. So Baltimore fans always say, well, it's an asterisk because that quarterback play came from a backup and not himself. So a lot of storylines going into that one.
The lovely asterisk behind a loss that you just lost. I mean, you lost the game. So
no,
yeah. Outside of that, if if you are the Houston Texans, what kind of, I mean, we see this all the time in the playoffs. Is a team takes a week, they get a bye week, they get time off, uh, and then they don't come out and perform. You see it in almost all. I mean, look at the Dodgers this past year. They had a little break and came out and kind of fell asleep against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Is this a possibility here? Do you think this is something that I personally think I could see it happening? I could see the Houston Texans taking advantage of the 2 weeks off, a week off for the Baltimore Ravens, and coming into Baltimore and throwing all over them like they did Cleveland.
I would say I'd see that as well, except when you think about the last time Baltimore was the 1 seed, they got upset by a wild card team in the Tennessee Titans and that was when they didn't show up. And there's a good amount of that team that's still there. It's still John Harbaugh. That's the coach. He can look back at that and go, this can't be us this year. I think Baltimore, they get to the conference championship or this season. Like, what did you pay Lamar for? You need to be in the AFC championship. You need to have the ability to win that AFC championship. They're good enough and they've done the things. Like, I hate giving them credit. Baltimore is one of those teams that I wish didn't play in my division because my life would be a lot easier if they didn't. But they are good and they've played as well as they've needed to all season. I think that they're going to be focused. I think that they're going to be too much for Houston. Nobody realizes how much those body blows in the first, second, third quarter takes out of your team. Like going all the way back to week 2 when Baltimore played Cincinnati, it was kind of close for 3 quarters. It was close for the first half. And then all of a sudden, everybody was just like dead tired because Baltimore had been on the field for 45 minutes and Cincinnati's defense couldn't get anywhere. And we just, it got blown out of the water. That's what I see happening. I see Houston holding close. Do they have the talent, the depth? Like I said with Cleveland, they've been playing for their playoff lives for a while now. They've already lost Tank Dell. Who else are they able to lose and continue to go on this little bit of a magical run? It's awesome. Right. Could it continue? It could. But Baltimore, I think, is going to be that boa constrictor that just chokes out. They're Damian Maya. They're sitting in back mount right now, and the arms are just slowly creeping across your carotid, and your vision starts to go a little bit spotty, and Houston's going to wind up pissing themselves on the floor.
Okay. I mean, I think that's a fair look at it. I think it's there. It's this Houston team has the ability to make a run. They kind of remind me a little bit of the Bengals a couple years ago.
We were a division winner. Don't. Well, actually, they're a division winner too. I guess.
Division winner too.
I retract my statement, Your Honor. I spoke too soon. We didn't have that much of a. Did we have that much of a Cinderella story? I feel like we were. Yeah, I know. It's hard,
especially with all.
There's similarities there.
Trey Hopkins was rated rated the dead last center in the NFL. Akeem Adeniji was rated 26 at his position. We did have a Cinderella story.
Yes, yeah.
We didn't have turnover. We were winners in the turnover margin. Joe wasn't really throwing interceptions, and but he was.
Lou Anarumo shut everybody out in the second half. I remember now. I shouldn't have said anything because again, when I cried the morning of the AFC Championship game because I was like, I never thought we'd even be this close. I'd never see this before. Yeah. Okay, I guess I'll allow it. There are a lot of similarities.
But we do have to watch though, because Laramie Tunsil did limp on and off the field last night. That's something to really focus on moving forward because Jadeveon Clowney having 9.5 sacks, which is his career best. And the rest of that pass rush going in. If Tunsil doesn't play, I don't think they hold much of a chance past the second and third quarter when those hits really start to stack up. So
yeah, I think he ended up finishing the game, and he came back in to finish the game yesterday. I think, but from the sounds of it, he already had he had a previous knee injury from earlier in the season, and he kind of got rolled up on yesterday a little bit. So I think that just kind of. I wouldn't say it did anything. It just might have scared it for a second. That can happen sometimes when you already have that injury. You get rolled up from behind or off to the side. You feel that little bit of a pinch in the knee, and you get that, oh man, here we go again, type of deal. Moving on to the other AFC game last night, the game so cold it broke Patrick Mahomes' helmet. That was something. I mean, I've been around football for 13, 14, 15 years. I have never ever one time seen a helmet break like that. Not once. Not once. It just shows how cold it was last night. So, what's your quick thoughts, Jim? What do you got? You got something?
No, it was a good game, and
Yeah.
I think that what we're going to see moving forward from the Chiefs are they either took the time and corrected them, and they're going to be playing perfect football, and they are the Chiefs in the playoffs. But what I said about Cleveland, like, they have a lot of turnover issues. Patrick Mahomes is that player that maybe can step up and win you a couple of times. He's done it before, so I'm not saying that. He's done all of this before, where he goes down by double digits in each round of the playoffs. He didn't even really struggle all that much last night. I know. It's just, I think that if they run into a Baltimore who's playing at a very high level, if Houston does the impossible, that's a Houston team that I don't think they're going to want to see. I just don't have that much faith. It boosted my faith a little bit because they could have lost to this Miami Dolphins team, even though it was so cold last night. I think you got a lot of answers if you were a Miami Dolphins fan out of the game last night, because 2 years ago in the playoffs in the same situation, it was a backup quarterback. It was the reason why you sucked. And last night you had your quarterback, you had your guy that your head coach and offensive philosophy is based around, and it wasn't good. Wasn't good enough. Not what you're paying that guy for, not what you're building around. You have the best, probably you have the fastest receiving core in the entire NFL. Tyreek Hill is the most nightmarish matchup for any defensive coordinator. Yet in the last 3 years since you've had him, you've done nothing.
Yeah, they probably have the fastest team in the NFL. If you can't, with Hill and Waddle and Achane, I mean they're probably the fastest team in the NFL. There's no reason why they have any issues that they do, and they can't get out of the wild card round in the playoffs. Jordan, what's your thoughts on last night's Chiefs-Dolphins game?
I think it answered everything for Miami moving forward. Kind of what Jimmy was saying exactly. They quarterback played regardless of the temperature. I mean, but both quarterbacks were playing in the same weather. Quarterback play looked really subpar. The play calling didn't look creative. Even when two scores were throwing the ball east and west and kind of hoping that somebody breaks something for something. And Kansas City was just waiting on it. Consistently had a defender in the face. They weren't fooled at all. They were patient in their passing lanes. Chris Jones looked good. But Tua, I don't think Tua is the long-term answer there. If Mike wants to keep his job moving forward, I think you got to start looking at options, because Tua his arm strength was more apparent last night than it ever has been moving forward, especially with the lights were the brightest, and his deep throw, besides one that he got pretty much lucky on for the 50-yarder to Tyreek. His deep throws looked off. He never really looked out of his way.
He looked off.
Till the game was garbage.
Yeah.
Just way too many weapons to be that underutilized. Constantly 3 and out. No discipline on the offensive line. They had several pre-snap penalties on third downs all night long, which twos became 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 9s, 10 plus. It just kind of resembles the locker room to the head coach, in my opinion. Which I think he's a player's coach. I think he's great at what he does, but it just kind of looked like an undisciplined team from top to bottom all night last night. And you don't win football games in January that way. So as for the Chiefs, it's kind of what we expected them to be in the playoffs when it comes to Patrick Mahomes in January. They look like they were going to struggle there. They had 2 drops early, and then after that first quarter, They look pretty consistent. They always got the refs' help. I don't know what the free timeout was about.
Because it's Patrick Mahomes,
sake.
and he has to do something cool, okay?
Yeah.
He has to do something cool, and he has to put his team in a chance to win. Don't you? It's every year. We've done this for the last 8 years. It's going to happen again.
It's crazy.
And guess what? Baltimore is going to lose next week, and they're not going to have to go on the road in the playoffs.
I hope they lose next week. I really do. But
I want to see Kansas City. I want to see Patrick Mahomes win a road playoff game.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see.
But Miami, to me, was so bad that it didn't really answer too many questions about the Chiefs moving forward. I think it gave the Chiefs mojo moving forward, but I don't see him beating a Baltimore. I don't see him if the Texans are as red hot as most analysts think they are, and they do the impossible. I don't see it because CJ Stroud and both Lamar have a much bigger arm than Tua. They have a much more organized offense than Tua, and they have a better defense than Miami without Chubb. So,
yeah, I said it yesterday in the little the preview show that we did. I was like, if Kansas City can find their flow and get things back on track, they'll be a team that's going to be tough to beat. Especially if they don't have to. If the Steelers do beat Buffalo, they, like Jimmy said, they don't have to play. They don't have to play a road game. They're stuck at home the rest of the playoffs. And it's hard to beat Kansas City in Kansas City. It really is. On the other side of that, you hear Mike McCarthy's name get brought up. If Dallas doesn't win today, is he in the hot seat? What about
Jerry Jones has no idea how to answer a question. He's the reason why all this drama exists, because he's like, yeah, well, we're going to take the playoffs as a game-by-game basis.
Yeah. So, come on.
So he's going to be fired if he loses the playoff game? Well, I didn't think I said that, did I? I said that he's under contract, right? I thought I was crystal clear. Was that not crystal? I'm going to get clearer than Mississippi mud this time.
What about Mike McDaniels? Is Mike McDaniels a little bit on the hot seat? Is his seat hot, or is it just starting to get warm?
I think it's hot for the next year. I think really this offseason and next year is his term limit. If he doesn't do anything about offense or upgrades beyond Tua, I think he's in serious trouble because Miami ownership is just kind of pissing away time at that point. So
the fact that you didn't end up winning your division in a year that you should have, because the Bills gave you every opportunity to just take that and run away with it, and you refused to do it. You beat one team with a record over 500 this season, and that stands now. That's on yourself forever. Yep. And everybody called it. Everybody said as soon as they had to go to Kansas City and they weren't playing in 70-degree Miami weather, they were going to lose, because for whatever reason, and I think it is how, like, I would like to play for a coach like Mike McDaniel, but some coaches are better suited to be coordinators than head coaches. And when you're that happy-go-lucky, you have no discipline. And when you have no discipline, you have no mental toughness. And no mental toughness means that when it's negative 35 degrees and a bottle of water literally freezes within 40 seconds of you purchasing it and taking it out of the refrigerator, you're going to just get your asses handed to you. I don't want to play. It's too cold. I can't run that fast. My feet are just so cold. And it showed in it showed in the score. That's the God's honest truth.
Yeah. That's. I mean, it was a thought that came to my mind last night immediately after the game was over. I was like, do we see Mike McDaniels return to the Dolphins sideline even next year? You have a division
that they're going to give him the one more year, because he's only had one full season with Tua.
That's fair, and I think that's where that it comes into play, where you do give him the extra year, just for that alone. Outside of last night's game, you got two games today. You got Matt Stafford and the LA Rams headed to Detroit for the first playoff game in Detroit in 30 years, right?
30 years.
That's crazy. First off, and the other crazy thing is you see Buffalo, Cleveland, Detroit, Houston, all in the playoffs this year, which is fun because those are four teams you don't typically see all in the playoffs at the same time. What kind of game we're going to see between the LA Rams and the Detroit Lions today, Jordan?
I think we're going to see all the fireworks. I really do. I think it's going to be a high scoring affair. I think it's gonna start off with a couple of 3 and outs. Teams are going to adjust. Energy levels kind of sink in for the Detroit Lions. First playoff game, 30 years, first home playoff game. I think you're going to see all the scoring. Cooper Kupp and company, and that phenomenal, I can never pronounce his name, who just set the record.
Puka Nakua.
Puka Nakua. I think they're going to have a good game, but I think Detroit is going to is going to play a lot of screen game. They both running backs are close to 1,000 yards on the ground apiece. So I think you're getting a heavy dose of the run game going forward. But I think you're just going to see a lot of fireworks. I think it's going to be a fun game all the way through.
Do we think it turns into a Houston-Cleveland kind of game?
No, I don't think you're going to see the turnovers that basically Cleveland gave them a silver platter for the game. I don't think you're going to see those pick sixes.
It's Jared Goff. Jared Goff has thrown quite a few interceptions at the end of the season.
He's thrown some, but you have that running game he can lean on. So I think they're gonna keep Jared Goff clean. I think they're gonna keep him safe from making those decisions as long as they don't fall behind the chains. LA has never had a high scoring offense this year. Aaron Donald and company are going to keep them in a game, but I still think you're going to see a lot of fireworks. But I think Detroit gets it done. LA has a lot of holes that are going to show up here in this game. Detroit has a better roster from top to bottom, and I think you're going to see Detroit pull the miracle win. So,
okay, I like it, Jimmy.
Do we know if Laporta is going to be playing in that game?
I can find out.
Because I know that he was practicing, and they were probably going to give him a shot in the knee. If you don't believe that, or if you don't think that way, then you're just being naive at this point. I think that if we think back to Jared Goff's last playoff run, he understood his role, and I don't think that he's going to just totally forget about that this time around. Dan Campbell wants to be aggressive. Dan Campbell can be the one that's aggressive, but Jared Goff is the quarterback, and he's fit as a quarterback of this team because he doesn't make the bonehead. I know that he had a lot of turnovers, but in the big moments, he does understand what he should and shouldn't do. Sometimes it doesn't always translate to what happens on the field, but he's supposed to be like Dan Campbell's Jiminy Cricket. So Dan Campbell's like, it's 4th and 10, let's go for it. And Jared Goff's like,
yeah,
we can punt this one. Let's go ahead and punt this one, coach, and then I'll go for it on 4th and 5 from the 2-point conversion, however many times. So I think Jared Goff is the right quarterback for this job. I think that Matthew Stafford, Nico said that there's no chance that unless Detroit wins a Super Bowl, there's no chance that they have the ability to come out even or win this trade. I honestly would say that's not the case. I think that this is showing Detroit that, yeah, you might have given up. You gave up the guy that you grew in your own backyard. He went on, was really successful, won a Super Bowl. I don't know if you guys saw, but Eminem, when he performed at the halftime show for that Super Bowl, I know, Jordan, you and I don't like to talk about it, but he said, I'll cheer for you for this one if you give us one back, and this is the one that he owes him. So right. I'm not going against Slim Shady. I think that, Matthew Stafford is a man of his word. He's going to give this one to the Detroit Lions. Amon-Ra St. Brown, if Sam Laporta plays, he's going to be huge. But all the players that they've had that have gone from Dan Campbell initially to what they are now, they're bullies. I think they have the interior offensive line to be able to at least slow down Aaron Donald. I love Frank Ragnow. He's one of the best centers in all of football. I like Detroit. I think it's going to be a brutal. This is going to be one of those body blow games. I'm going to love this game as a former offensive lineman. It's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, so Sam Laporta is trending in the right direction, is expected to play today.
Give me that shot, baby.
Don't you go anywhere near his leg with that needle. I'll break every bone in your body.
I think this will be a fun one too. I think as much as I'm hoping Detroit wins, I think LA is on a little bit of a roll right now. Their run game is really, really good. Their pass offense is probably one of the better that we've seen in a while. at least this year. I would say with the consistency of, throwing the ball around and getting it to who they need to at the right time. Sean McVay has done an outstanding job this year as the head coach of the Rams, being, it was a team that wasn't supposed to be in the playoffs. They weren't even supposed to touch the playoffs. They just happened to catch it at the right time. Kyron Williams is a monster of a running back too. I think he could be the difference for the Rams today and getting them a victory in Detroit. Kind of same with Detroit though is you could be David Montgomery and the Jahmyr Gibbs tandem that really takes it away for Jared Goff in the Detroit Lions. I almost said Jared Goff in the LA Rams, but that's not the case anymore. So flipping to the other game, I don't think there's anything else with that game.
Yeah.
There's just that little bit of a storyline with Stafford going back to Detroit and this and that and whatnot. Flipping to the other one, the Green Bay Packers are looking to be the first 7th seed to win a playoff game. Does it happen? Does Jordan Love have enough to get it done, Jimmy?
I see this going the same way that last year went, where they're able to hold off the scrappy wild card team in the first round, and then in the divisional round, Mike McCarthy's head will explode and something will go catastrophically wrong. Jerry Jones will make 45 cryptic messages only for it to all happen again next season. It's just rinse and repeat for the Cowboys. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Micah Parsons is the key factor for me. I know that Jordan Love's been really good towards the end of the season, but that defense, the way that he can get after the passer, he's not going to allow for Jordan Love to be in a rhythm. I don't – LaFleur can probably outcoach McCarthy, but I think McCarthy just has the firepower in this matchup. I think that Green Bay, it's cool that they made it for them, for their fan base. They don't ever have to worry about rebuilding or struggling with a new quarterback or anything like that. Now they need to continue to build for next year, because next year they can win their division again. Instead of being the 7th team into the playoffs, they could be hosting playoff games. I think next season is what they're looking at. Anything they get this year is gravy. So I think that they could probably – they're going to fight, obviously, because everybody plays to win in the NFL, but they're playing with house money.
Yeah. Jordan, what do you think?
My thoughts are similar to Jimmy. I think Dallas gets this one done. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. But Micah Parsons and company and at Dallas secondary, I think it's going to be too much for Love being on the road. Dallas loves playing at home. So to me, it's going to be Dallas in this round. I think they're going to do the choke effect in the second round on whoever they play. I don't see Dallas moving on. But in this game, Jordan Love is a feel-good story, but I think it's going to come to an end. I think they have the building blocks to be successful moving forward. They got extremely, I won't say lucky, but they fought their tail off to get into the playoffs. They don't have to worry about any quarterback questions moving forward, at least for another year. But Dallas gets this done. Dallas has too much defense, too much offensive juice. They love to win at home. Give me Dallas by at least 10. So,
and that's what I said last night on the little preview show. Was Dallas? I think it was like 28 to 14, something around that. I mean, Dallas has won 16 straight home games, and there's a reason they do that. AT&T Stadium is just as hard of a place to play in, apparently, as Arrowhead is, to an extent. This game should be. I agree. I could see it being a little closer than we all expected to. I do think Green Bay, at least in the first half, comes out and gives Dallas a little bit of a oh crap kind of moment. Like we're gonna have to pick it up. If we're not, we're going home early. We're going home when we're not supposed to. And the same question is brought up earlier with Mike McDaniels. If the Cowboys lose today, does Mike McCarthy have a job at the end of the day?
He shouldn't.
No.
I think that he should have been moved on from after last season, because they do this every year with Mike McCarthy. They're good in the regular season. They get to a certain point, but they never get over that same hurdle They won playoff
Yeah.
game now. They've won playoff games within this decade, so we can't hold that over them, but they still haven't made it past the divisional round. And Mike McCarthy, if he can't do it this year, he's never going to do it. And you've had opportunities for other, upstart head coaches, guys that you could have brought in. You have a guy, I think, that might have been better for your own job in-house. I think Dan Quinn would be a hell of a head coach for this. Kellen Moore just wasn't ready. Dan Quinn needed a little bit of rehab after Atlanta, but now Dan Quinn being here, I think Dan Quinn would be the best fit for Dallas's job. And it just sucks that he happens to be your defensive coordinator. So what are you going to do? Look at Mike McCarthy and go, well, actually, Jerry Jones might do this. He's in, you're out. I'm sorry. Yeah. Please pack up your knives and go. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. I don't know how many more ways I can tell you to get out and clean your office. Like, you're fired.
Yeah. Especially with Dan Quinn being linked to Seattle right now. I think that's a very good possibility that we could see that. Even if they win today and still lose next week, the Dallas Cowboys are a team that should get to the NFC Championship game, that should get to the Super Bowl. There's no reason why they can or why they shouldn't get there. So I think that's a good possibility that Jerry Jones pulls this kind of thing to keep Dan Quinn in Dallas. Jordan, got any thoughts on the whole thing?
I agree completely. Whether it's Dan Quinn or looking at some other veteran head coaches that were let go from their teams, you got a Mike Vrabel out there. You got a Bill Belichick bring in to at least advise or have a role in the front office if Jerry Jones paid enough. I don't see him being a head coach, but Jerry's all about the storylines, Jimmy. So
yeah, no, that would be. I was thinking of Bill Belichick in Seattle because he's the least.
Yeah.
I think it would be hilarious. It'd be like one of those Lifetime movies where the big city girl goes to the podunk town. It's like, whoa, there's so many hippies. Why is everybody wearing Birkenstocks? Bill Belichick grows a man bun with whatever hair that he has left. Becomes a yogi. Namaste.
That would be fun.
We're on to Cincinnati. Namaste.
That's the movie we need. We don't need a Joe Flacco movie. We need a Bill Belichick movie.
We might get it.
Speaking of, you talk about head coaches and stuff, who's going where and whatnot. You already seen Gerard Mayo get the job in New England. Which vacancy right now is the next one to get filled in your eyes, Jimmy?
I need a reminder on all the ones that are open.
You got Atlanta, Vegas, LA. What else is there? There's still three more. Tennessee, Carolina.
I think LA is definitely because the roster is already kind of there. You can change it to however you want, but they have good enough talent and good enough players there. I think that it might be a little bit more enticing once Herbert's back at quarterback and it's not the hockey stick, as Nico called him. None of those places, none of those jobs are all that enticing because you either don't have talent on the roster or like in Carolina, you have to deal with the literal embodiment of White Goodman as your owner. And it's going to be a nightmare no matter what happens to you, whether you're good, whether you're bad. Your guy is going to toss drinks on fans. He's going to get fined $400,000. He's going to pull it out of his wallet, throw it at the person that he threw the drink on, and he's going to just continue to undermine you. And you're never going to know. He's going to walk in, and he's always testing you. There's always a test going on. You have to show me that you're the alpha. If you don't, I'm going to lock up with you. We're going to wrestle Greco-Roman style. You know what Greco-Roman wrestling used to be? They used to wrestle naked. What? I'm not doing this, Mr. Tepper. Please. Please, get away from me. I'm saying no.
No. I don't know you. That's my purse.
Yeah. Give me back my purse. I don't like any of those jobs. God bless the people who take them, and hopefully you can build them into something that I'm not seeing right now. I'd say it's LA and then maybe Tennessee because they're getting a new stadium, so you're at least going to have some buzz around the franchise. I know that they're losing Derrick Henry, but I think that those are my two options that I would choose if I had to.
Yeah. Jordan, which one's your favorite, or at least the next one you could see being filled?
I think if Vegas has half a mind, they'll just go ahead and hire in-house. AP had that locker room from day one when he stepped in. He took the same players that Josh McDaniels couldn't get any juice out of, and won some games and at least put consistent play on the field. It wasn't great, flashy. Obviously, they have a quarterback hole to fill, but it could go one or two ways, because I also think that some of the aging veterans on the team, they could have a fire sale. Whether getting rid of Max Crosby for a lot of draft picks or Devontae Adams for a lot of draft picks could be appealing to somebody that wants to just scrape the paint and restart over and know that they're not going to be good next year, that we can go ahead and build this from the ground up. And with it being in a market, Vegas, always kind of fun, right? So Tom Brady being part of the partnership, at least on paper, could entice somebody to come down and kind of rebuild the team in a different image and kind of move forward. So my opinion would be probably Vegas could be filled a lot faster. It's not appealing right now, but they have enough chips so they can move around and be like, all right, hey, we've got 10 draft picks moving forward from the trades that we can go ahead and execute, because instead of consistently putting band-aids there, I think if somebody really wanted to build it from the ground up, they totally could.
Yeah. I could see that being. I mean, it would make sense for Vegas to just pull the Band-Aid out, get Antonio Pierce in there, so you can move on, so you can get rid of this little bit of the chip that we're not hiring who we need to. I still think they could have hired Rich Bisaccia in that last year, to take that position instead of bringing in it, but. Yeah, the Saints gave Dennis, they gave Allen a shot. I mean, they're the same type of guy, in my opinion. But I don't know. I think with everything that's going on with Vegas, ownership wise and whatnot, I mean, it would make total sense for them to stick with Pierce. He has a locker room won over, and there's already players coming out be like, hey, if he's not hired, I don't want to be here. I want out.
Yeah, Max Crosby being one of them. So.
Well, Max Crosby, he's the guy that you can't have not there. I mean, I know Darren and I are probably, and Jordan, when we're on tonight for Talking the Gridiron, I'm sure we're going to talk about it, but he doesn't even refer to his owner as his name. He's just the haircut, and the haircut will do everything that he can to sabotage the Raiders. He thinks that he's his dad. He thinks that he's the guy that negotiated the NBC broadcasting rights deal. I'm this good. No, you're. Is it Harry? Is he Harry, or he's Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber? He just needs to chip his tooth. I'm sure that can be arranged. I don't know. He's an odd guy. When you eat at PF Chang's every day, you're an odd guy. Why is there PF Chang's in your stadium, Mark? Why is that? You could have paid a coach or a trainer.
I thought you were going for more of the Spider-Man with Harry trying to take his dad's company. He can't run Oscorp. He's not ready.
Well, that also he had it could be Kylo Ren because he wasn't ready to run the Empire, I guess. It's not really Darth Vader because his dad was Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Actually, that's Palpatine. I don't know who Vader is. Gruden.
Vader's
Gruden.
When Gruden's lawsuit is settled, he's going to come back and he's going to.
There's been talk about Gruden picking up steam and some of the other vacancies. So
that would just I don't see how the NFL would be okay with that happening. It wouldn't make sense for Gruden to get a job over some of the guys that are out there right now. But then again, it is the NFL.
We're honoring Ray Rice next weekend, right, for the playoff game for Baltimore fans.
I thought they did that already.
Excuse me?
Did they do it already?
Oh, wow. There. Talk about being
I thought that was the last game of the season they did that. Unless they moved it.
I'm just saying if that can happen, anything can happen, because that blew my absolute mind.
Yeah. I mean, he was the star there in Baltimore before everything happened. So
before everything.
But before everything
Is
happened. Yeah.
Buffalo unveiling an OJ statue at some point?
You never know. It's the NFL.
They're fucking morons. I knew I didn't have much faith in people from Baltimore to begin with, but now I completely see you're just stupid. You're not even dumb. You're just so stupid you can't even read a room. What has the NFL been coming out against? What since this incident happened? Since the video of your guy that you're this is stupid. This is just stupid.
That was something else. You got any guys any closing thoughts for today's show, Jordan?
Not too many. I think Dallas is gonna do their thing at home against Green Bay. The Texans are a Cinderella story. It's gonna be a good game if they do end up getting Baltimore. I'm excited to see it, especially as an Ohio State fan. Miami, we recapped. They have more questions and answers just about on every level, from head coach to quarterback. The couple coaching vacancies moving forward. Obviously, they got to get filled before the draft, so a lot of busy minds going to be post Super Bowl, and especially going to free agency in March. So, that pretty much recaps it for me. So.
Okay, Jimmy, you got any final thoughts?
Football season's over for myself. I'm watching, but I don't really care. I'm watching the Avalanche because we're going to trade Ryan Johansson at some point because he hasn't been able to fit, but we're playing near perfect hockey at the moment, coming up on the All-Star break. So things can change, but what are you going to say?
No, I want to hear your thoughts because it's the NHL thing with the whole fan vote thing. I get it. But do you think, I don't even know how to say his name right yet. Is it Dragunov? The goalie.
For who?
Colorado.
Georgiev?
Yes, Georgiev.
Yeah.
Do you really think he should be an all-star?
No, he hasn't been playing at all-star level. He just has the team that can score 8 goals when he gives up 7. So he needs to play better than that, and he's had a couple shutouts. But no, it was only because he's a cool name to chant, and we get to chant it a lot because we win a lot at home. So
at least got an NHL.
Georgie.
I'll give you that. Okay, that's a cool name.
I think I'll
give him that. Yeah,
that's all I got.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was just something that caught my attention. And
did Val not make it? Did Val not make it? But Georgiev did. Did Nichushkin make it? Because he should have. He's second in power play points behind Reinhardt. That's it.
I don't think so. The second group of fan voted was all from Vancouver and Toronto. So I don't.
Of course.
Yeah, I know, right?
Of course. Fuck you, Canada. It's cold as balls because of you, and now I don't get to watch my guys in the All-Star game. Thank you.
Who did you say?
Val Nichushkin. Valeri.
I don't see him on here. No.
How is that not his goal song? Yeah. All right, I'm just rambling now. You better turn this off before I just continue on. I'll turn this into an Avalanche podcast real quick.
We're gonna have to get one of those going 5 holes soon. Yeah. So, but alrighty. Well, we'll head out of here. We'll finish on that nice little NHL note, all-star stuff. By the way, the jerseys are god awful. If you haven't seen them yet, they're ugly. God, they're bad. Anyways, no, yeah. Hey, Justin Bieber wore a Blues one, so we're okay. Okay, but anyways, that's the high note we're riding on in the All-Star break right now. Is Justin Bieber wore a Blues All-Star jersey, so we're good. We'll wrap it up there. Make sure you tune in tonight for another Talk in the Gridiron, and we got one more wildcard preview game with Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. Enjoy the games today. Make sure you do everything you do for everywhere else. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.